The massive alien ship moved slowly through space toward Earth. Its hull was dark blue with silver lines that glowed softly. Inside the ship, Ambassador Zixithera looked at the small blue planet on his screen. He felt excited and a little proud. Today, his people would welcome another young race into the galaxy. "How primitive do you think they are?" asked his assistant, a tall creature with 4 arms and green skin. Zixithara smiled, showing his sharp teeth. "Very primitive. Our scouts say they barely reach their own moon. They probably use chemical rockets and simple computers. This will be easy." On Earth, Captain Jake Morrison sat in his chair on the space station New Horizon. The station was huge, with white walls and blue lights. Through the windows, he could see Earth spinning slowly below. Jake was drinking his morning coffee when the alarm started ringing. "Captain," called Lieutenant Commander Lisa Grant from her desk. "We have a big ship coming toward us. It's not from Earth." Jake put down his coffee cup and walked over to her station. On the screen, he could see a strange ship that was 10 times bigger than anything humans had ever built. Lisa was a smart woman who knew many languages. Her job was to talk to people from other worlds, though this was her first real chance to do it. "Are they trying to talk to us?" Jake asked. "Yes, sir. They're sending a message in many different languages. Some I know, some I don't." Lisa worked quickly on her computer. "I think they want to meet with our leaders." Dr. Peter Collins came running into the room. He was a thin man with gray hair who studied other cultures. "What do we know about them?" he asked, looking at the screen. "Not much yet," Jake said, "but they're definitely not from around here." The alien message was clear, though it sounded like the aliens thought they were better than humans. The message said that the Galactic Council wanted to welcome Earth into their group. They would protect humans and teach them how to be better. In return, humans would follow the Council's rules and give them resources. "They sound like they think we're children," Lisa said, frowning. Jake nodded. "Get me Director Susan Blake on the phone. She needs to hear this." Director Blake was the head of Earth's diplomatic corps. She was a serious woman who had spent her life learning how to deal with difficult people. When she heard about the aliens, she was not surprised. She had been waiting for this day for a long time. "Tell them we would be happy to meet," she said, "but we'll follow proper diplomatic rules. They can send a small group to our station. We'll do the same." The aliens were confused when they got this answer. They expected the humans to be scared or amazed. Instead, the humans treated them like equals. This was not how first contact usually went. "They want to follow protocols?" Zixithera asked, reading the message again. "Don't they understand who we are?" His assistant looked worried. "Maybe they don't realize how much more advanced we are." "We'll show them," Zixithera said. "Prepare the shuttle. We'll visit their station and explain how things work in the galaxy." While the aliens prepared to visit, Jake called Colonel Ryan Hughes. The colonel was in charge of Earth's intelligence network. He was a quiet man who knew many secrets. "What do you think, Colonel?" Jake asked. Ryan smiled, but it was not a happy smile. "I think our guests are in for a surprise. We've been watching them for a long time." "Watching them?" "Captain, we've known about aliens for 50 years. We've been listening to their radio signals and studying their technology. We know about the Galactic Council, their wars, their trade, fruits, everything." Jake felt his mouth drop open. "Why didn't anyone tell me?" "Because it wasn't time yet. But now they've come to us so we can finally talk." When the alien shuttle arrived at New Horizon, it was beautiful. It moved without making any sound, and its silver hull reflected the stars. 3 aliens came out, led by Zixithera. He was tall and thin with purple skin and large black eyes. Jake, Lisa, and Dr. Collins met them at the docking bay. The aliens expected the humans to bow or show fear. Instead, Jake stepped forward and held out his hand. "Welcome to New Horizon," he said. "I'm Captain Morrison. We're glad to meet you." Zixithera looked at the offered hand for a moment, then shook it carefully. The human's grip was firm and confident. This was already different from what he expected. "I'm Ambassador Zixithara of the Valerian Empire," he said. "We represent the Galactic Council. We have come to offer your species membership in our great alliance." That's very kind, Jake said. Would you like to see our station while we wait for our diplomatic team? As they walked through the station, the aliens were surprised by what they saw. The technology was more advanced than they expected. The humans had artificial gravity, clean fusion power, and computers that responded to voice commands. This was not the work of a primitive species. Your technology is interesting, SciFistories said carefully. Dr. Collins smiled. We've always been good at solving problems. Humans like to build things and make them better. In the meeting room, Director Blake was waiting with several other officials. She stood up when the aliens entered and greeted them politely, but not submissively. Ambassador SciFistories, she said, thank you for coming so far to meet with us. We've prepared a proper meeting room where we can discuss your proposal. The aliens sat down at the table, expecting to explain how the galaxy worked to confused humans. Instead, Blake began asking detailed questions about the Council's structure, their laws, and their member species. She knew things about the galaxy that surprised them. How do you know about the trade wars of Sector 7? SciFistories asked, confused. Blake smiled. We've been studying galactic politics for quite some time. We believe in being prepared. The ambassador felt a strange feeling in his stomach. Something was not right here. These humans were not acting like a primitive species at all. They were acting like equals, maybe even like they knew something he didn't. As the meeting continued, SciFistories began to realize that first contact with Earth was not going to be as simple as he thought. Ambassador SciFistories was getting frustrated. The humans kept asking questions instead of listening to his explanations about how the galaxy worked. They acted like they already knew everything. This was not how first contact was supposed to go. Perhaps you don't understand, he said, trying to stay polite. The Galactic Council has been keeping peace in this galaxy for thousands of years. We have technology that your species has never seen. Director Blake nodded. I'm sure you do. We'd be very interested in seeing some examples. SciFistories smiled. Finally, the humans wanted to see superior alien technology. We have brought our finest warship with us. The dreadnought Eternal Vigilance is the most powerful vessel in our fleet. Perhaps a demonstration would help you understand our capabilities. That sounds wonderful, Blake said. We'd be happy to participate in a friendly exercise with you. The ambassador felt pleased. Once the humans saw what real galactic technology could do, they would understand their place in the universe. Excellent. Bring your best ship. We'll show you what you have to learn. Admiral Tim Carter was called to the meeting. He was a big man with gray hair and calm eyes. He had been fighting in space for 30 years and was not easily impressed. Admiral, Blake said, our guests would like to conduct a military exercise with us. Tim looked at the aliens and nodded. We'd be honored. When would you like to begin? Tomorrow, SciFistories said. Bring your most advanced warship. We want to be fair. Tim smiled. I'll make sure Captain Adams knows. She commands our newest vessel. The next day, both fleets moved to empty space far from Earth. The alien dreadnought was a monster. It was 3 miles long, covered in weapons, and surrounded by a glowing energy shield. The ship looked like it could destroy a planet. Captain Nicole Adams stood on the bridge of Aurora's edge. Her ship looked tiny next to the alien vessel. It was sleek and white, shaped like a shark. Nicole was young for a captain, but she was the best pilot in the Earth fleet. Are you sure about this, Captain? Asked her second officer, Lieutenant Ben Walsh. Nicole grinned. Trust me, this is going to be fun. Chief Engineer Alex Stone called from the engine room. Captain, the gravity drive is ready. All systems are working perfectly. Good, Nicole said. Let's show our guests what humans can do. The exercise began, simply. Both ships moved in basic patterns while the aliens explained standard space combat tactics. The Eternal Vigilance moved like most big ships, slowly and carefully. Its weapons were powerful, but they needed time to aim. Aurora's Edge moved differently. It turned and twisted through space like it was dancing. The alien ship tried to follow, but it couldn't keep up. How are they moving like that? Asked SciFistories, watching from his command center. "Their engines are very efficient," said his technical officer. "But this should not be possible with normal technology." The exercise got more serious. The alien ship fired practice shots with its energy weapons. The beams were bright blue and very powerful. They should have hit Aurora's edge easily. Instead, Nicole's ship seemed to slide sideways without turning. The beams passed right through empty space where the ship had been a second before. "Impossible," whispered the alien technical officer. Alex Stone was busy in the engine room. The gravity drive was working perfectly. It could make the ship heavier or lighter in any direction. This let Aurora's edge move in ways that broke the normal rules of spaceflight. "Captain," Alex called, "the drive is running at only 30% power. Should I increase it?" "Not yet," Nicole said. "Let's see what else they can do." The alien dreadnought tried harder. It fired faster and used predictive targeting to guess where Aurora's edge would be. The practice beams got closer, but they still couldn't hit the human ship. Then Nicole decided to show them something special. "Alex, give me full power to the forward gravity projectors." "Yes, Captain." Aurora's edge suddenly shot forward like a bullet. It moved so fast that the alien sensors lost track of it. The ship appeared right in front of the dreadnought's bridge, close enough to touch. "Surprise," Nicole said over the radio. The aliens were shocked. No ship should be able to move that fast. Their own vessel couldn't even turn fast enough to aim at the human ship. "Now for the real test," Nicole said. "Fire when ready." Dr. Kevin Moore was in charge of Aurora's Edge's weapons. He was a quiet scientist who had designed the ship's particle beams. Unlike most weapons, these beams could change their frequency while firing. "Firing now," Kevin said. The human weapons looked different from alien guns. Instead of bright beams, they fired streams of purple energy that seemed to bend and twist. When they hit the alien ship's shields, something strange happened. The shields flickered and failed. The beams passed right through them like they weren't there. "Our shields are down," shouted the alien technical officer. "How did they do that?" "The beams are operating on quantum frequencies," Kevin explained to his own crew. "Most alien shields can't block them because they don't know to look for that wavelength." The exercise continued for an hour. Every time the aliens tried something new, the humans had an answer. Their ship was faster, more agile, and their weapons worked better. By the end, the mighty Eternal Vigilance was completely helpless. "Exercise complete," Nicole announced. "Good practice, everyone." Zixthera stared at his screens in disbelief. His most powerful warship had been defeated by a vessel 1/10 its size. The humans had made it look easy. "Ambassador," his captain said quietly, "we need to report this to the council immediately." "Report what?" Zixthara asked. "That we're beaten by primitives? That our best technology is useless against them?" "Sir, they're not primitives. I don't know what they are, but they're not what we expected." Back on Aurora's Edge, Nicole was talking to Admiral Carter on the radio. "How did we do, Admiral?" she asked. "Perfect, Captain. I think our guests are starting to understand that Earth is not as helpless as they thought. Should I tell them about the other ships?" "Not yet," Tim said. "Let's see how they react to this first." In his private quarters, Zixthera called his superiors on the Galactic Council. The conversation was difficult. "You're telling me that one human ship defeated the Eternal Vigilance?" asked Council Leader Mordak. "Not defeated," Zixthera said, carefully. "It was just an exercise, but yes, they outperformed us completely." "How is that possible? Our intelligence said they were barely spacefaring." "Our intelligence was wrong. Very wrong. These humans have technology we've never seen before. Their ships move like nothing in our fleet." There was silence on the other end of the call. Finally, Mordak spoke again. "Get more information. Find out what else they're hiding. If they're this advanced, we need to know everything about them." Zixthera ended the call and looked out at the stars. He had come to Earth expecting to find a simple species that needed guidance. Instead, he found humans who might be more advanced than the entire Galactic Council. What other surprises were they hiding? Ambassador Zixthara could not sleep that night. Everything he thought he knew about the galaxy was wrong. The humans were not primitive creatures who needed protection. They were something else entirely, something that scared him. The next morning, he demanded to speak with the highest level of human government. "I want to know everything," he said to Director Blake. "No more surprises. Show me the full extent of human activities in this galaxy." Blake looked at President Ross on the video screen. The president nodded slowly. "Very well, Ambassador, Commander." "Williams, please begin the briefing." Commander Scott Williams was a tall man with serious eyes. He worked in strategic operations and knew more about human expansion than almost anyone else. "Ambassador," Scott began, "you asked for the truth. Are you sure you're ready to hear it?" "Tell me everything," SciFiStories demanded. Scott activated a massive holographic display that filled the entire room. It showed the galaxy with thousands of tiny lights scattered across it. "Each light represents a human installation," Scott said calmly. "Outposts, mining stations, research facilities, and colonies." The aliens stared in horror. There were lights everywhere, including in areas that the Galactic Council controlled. "This can't be right," whispered the alien technical officer. "There are installations in our home systems." "Correct," Scott said. "We have hidden outposts in 17 Council-controlled star systems. They've been operating undetected for an average of 12 years. SciFiStories felt dizzy. "How is this possible? Our security is absolute." "Not against quantum phase technology," Scott explained. "Our outposts exist slightly out of phase with normal space. You can't see them because they're not quite in the same dimension as your sensors." Dr. Jennifer Lee joined the briefing. She was an expert in planetary engineering and had spent years developing new worlds for humans to live on. "Ambassador," she said, "your species colonizes planets by finding worlds that are already suitable for life. Humans do things differently." She changed the hologram to show before and after pictures of dead planets. The before pictures showed lifeless rocks with poisonous atmospheres. The after pictures showed green worlds with blue oceans and white clouds. "We take planets that nobody wants and make them beautiful," Jennifer explained. "Dead worlds, gas giants, moons, asteroids. We can turn almost anything into a place where humans can live." "How many worlds have you created?" asked SciFiStories. 47. "So far," Jennifer said, "with 12 more in development. Each world can support between 50 million and 2 billion people." The ambassador did quick math in his head. That was more people than lived in most council-member civilizations. Captain Daniel Brown appeared on screen from somewhere in deep space. Behind him they could see stars and the darkness between them. "Ambassador," he said, "I command what we call the Shadow Fleet. We operate in the empty spaces between star systems." "There's nothing in deep space," protested the alien technical officer. "That's what everyone thinks," Daniel agreed. "But there's actually a lot of useful material out there. Rogue planets, asteroid fields, ancient debris from dead civilizations. We harvest resources that other species don't even know exist." The hologram changed again, showing huge ships moving through the darkness between stars. They were mining operations larger than most space stations. "The Shadow Fleet has over 3,000 vessels," Daniel continued. "We've been operating for 30 years without anyone knowing we exist." SciFiStories was having trouble breathing. The humans had been building a secret empire right under everyone's noses. "How many humans are there?" he asked weakly. "On Earth, about 12 billion, Scott answered. "In the rest of the solar system, 8 billion. On our new worlds, about 15 billion. In deep space installations, another 2 billion. 37 billion people," SciFiStories whispered. "The entire Galactic Council represented only about 50 billion beings across dozens of species. And growing fast," added Dr. Lee. "Human population doubles every 20 years. But the biggest shock was still coming." Science Director Amanda Price walked into the room, followed by someone who looked completely human. "Ambassador," Amanda said, "I'd like you to meet Lieutenant Sam Parker." Sam stepped forward and shook hands with the confused alien. He looked like a normal human man with brown hair and friendly eyes. "Pleased to meet you, Ambassador," Sam said with a smile. "Sam is not human," Amanda said quietly. SciFiStories blinked. What do you mean? I'm an artificial being, Sam explained. I was created in a laboratory using advanced computer technology and biological materials. The alien stared at him in shock. Creating artificial consciousness was considered impossible by most galactic civilizations. You built a person? The alien technical officer asked. We built millions of people, Sam said. I'm just one of many artificial humans working throughout our civilization. Amanda activated another display showing factories where artificial humans were being created. We can produce about 10,000 new citizens per year using this technology. They're not slaves, she added quickly. They're full citizens with all the rights of natural-born humans. Many of them are scientists, soldiers, artists, and leaders. This is forbidden, SciFiStories said, his voice shaking. Artificial consciousness is too dangerous. Why? Asked Sam. I can think, feel, and create, just like any natural person. I choose my own path in life. Because the ambassador couldn't think of a good reason. Because your species is afraid of change, Amanda said gently. Humans embrace change. We always want to become better than we were yesterday. General Thompson brought up one final display. It showed a timeline of human expansion over the past 50 years. Ambassador, everything you've seen today represents just the beginning of human expansion. We've been growing exponentially and we're still accelerating. What do you want? SciFiStories asked desperately. What are your intentions toward the rest of the galaxy? President Ross answered from her screen. The same thing we've always wanted. To explore, learn, and grow. We want to be friends with other civilizations, but we won't be anyone's junior partners. The Galactic Council won't accept this, the ambassador said. When they learn what you've done, there will be war. Will there? Asked General Thompson quietly. Let me show you one more thing. The hologram changed to show the current positions of all Council fleets. Every major battle group was surrounded by small dots representing human ships. Those dots are our scout vessels, Thompson explained. They're invisible to your sensors and faster than your fastest ships. Every Council fleet has been under constant observation for years. You're threatening us, SciFiStories accused. No, Thompson said. We're just making sure we know where everyone is. If there was going to be a war, it would have been over before it started. Blake stood up. Ambassador, we didn't ask for this confrontation. You came to us, remember? We were content to continue growing quietly while watching the galaxy from a distance. But now that we've met, President Ross added, we hope we can work together. The galaxy is big enough for everyone. SciFiStories looked around the room at all the humans who had been politely destroying everything he thought he knew about the universe. I need to contact the Council, he said finally. Of course, Blake said. Take all the time you need. But remember, we've been honest with you today. We hope the Council will be equally honest with us. As the ambassador left to make his emergency call to the Galactic Council, he wondered if his civilization was ready to learn that they were no longer the most powerful force in the galaxy. The humans had been preparing for this moment for decades. The question was, what were they planning to do next? The next morning, Ambassador SciFiStories demanded an emergency meeting. He was angry and confused after watching his best warship lose to a smaller human vessel. The other aliens with him looked worried too. We need explanations, SciFiStories said, as soon as he sat down. Your ship should not have been able to do what it did. Where did you get that technology? Director Blake looked calm. She had been expecting this question. We developed it ourselves over many years of research and testing. Impossible, said the alien technical officer. No species develops gravity manipulation so quickly. It took us 3,000 years to create basic gravity generators. Blake smiled. Perhaps we approach science differently than you do. President Helen Ross joined the meeting by video call from Earth. She was a strong leader who had been preparing for this moment for years. Behind her, they could see the gleaming towers of New Washington, Earth's capital city. Ambassador SciFiStories, she said, I think it's time we were completely honest with each other. We have been studying your civilization for quite some time. Studying us? SciFiStories felt a chill run down his spine. Yes. We've been listening to your communications, watching your ships, and learning about your technology for over 50 years. Science Director Amanda Price came into the room carrying a tablet. She was a brilliant woman who had spent her life pushing the boundaries of human knowledge. "Let me show you something," Amanda said. She touched her tablet and a hologram appeared in the air above the table. It showed the galaxy with hundreds of bright dots scattered across it. "Each dot represents one of your ships or stations," Amanda explained. "We know where your fleets are, what they're doing, and where they're going." SciFiStories stared at the display. There were council ships marked that even he didn't know about. "This information is classified at the highest levels." "How could you possibly know this?" "We have very good sensors," Blake said simply. Production Chief Tony Davis joined them next. He was a practical man who understood manufacturing and industry. "Ambassador, would you like to see how we build our ships?" Before SciFiStories could answer, Tony activated another hologram. This one showed massive factories in space, with robot workers building starships at incredible speed. "This is Shipyard 7, Tony said. "It can build a ship like Aurora's Edge in 3 weeks. We have 12 shipyards like this one." The aliens looked shocked. In their experience, building a warship took years, sometimes decades. The idea of building one in weeks seemed impossible. "Your robots are very advanced," admitted the alien technical officer. "Those aren't robots," Tony said. "Those are automated systems controlled by artificial intelligence. Each shipyard has an AI that can think and solve problems on its own." Dr. Rachel Moore came in next. She was Earth's leading expert on physics and had made discoveries that changed how humans understood the universe. "Ambassador," she said, "I think you're confused about how humans do science. Most species in the galaxy follow very rigid paths of development. You learn one thing, then the next, then the next." "That is the logical way," SciFiStories said. "Maybe," Rachel agreed, "but humans don't work that way. We try crazy ideas, we experiment with things that shouldn't work. Sometimes we fail, but sometimes we discover something amazing." She activated her own hologram, showing complex equations and diagrams that made the aliens' heads hurt. "For example, your gravity technology works by creating artificial mass. Ours works by bending space itself. Your approach is logical and predictable. Ours is weird and breaks the rules." General Chris Thompson arrived with a serious expression. He was in charge of Earth's military intelligence and knew secrets that would terrify the aliens. "Ambassador," he said, "there's something else you should know. We haven't just been watching your ships from far away." He produced a small device, no bigger than his thumb. It looked like a piece of black crystal. "This is a quantum phase probe. It can become invisible and pass through solid matter. We've been placing them on your ships and stations for 20 years. SciFiStories felt sick. "You've been spying on us? Inside our own vessels?" "We've been learning," Chris said. "We wanted to understand your technology, your culture, and your intentions before we made contact." "You mean before we made contact with you?" the ambassador corrected. Chris smiled grimly. "Ambassador, we could have contacted you any time we wanted. We chose to wait until you came to us." The room fell silent. The aliens were beginning to understand that everything they thought they knew about humans was wrong. Amanda Price spoke again. "Ambassador, your species has been spacefaring for 5,000 years. In that time, you've colonized about 200 worlds and developed technologies that work reliably." "Yes," SciFiStories said proudly. "We are one of the oldest civilizations in the galaxy." "Humans have been in space for less than 100 years, Amanda continued. "In that time, we've developed technologies that surpass yours in many areas. Do you know why?" "Because you're somehow naturally superior?" the ambassador asked bitterly. "No," Amanda said. "Because we never stop trying to improve. Your technology works, so you keep using it the same way for centuries. Human technology is constantly changing and getting better." Dr. Moore added, "We also share our discoveries freely. When one human scientist makes a breakthrough, every other human scientist learns about it immediately. We work together instead of keeping secrets." Tony Davis brought up more holograms showing human colonies and industrial sites. We don't just build ships fast, Ambassador. We build everything fast. Our manufacturing capacity is probably 10 times larger than your entire civilization. But you only have one planet, protested the alien technical officer. Actually, we don't, Tony said casually. We have industrial facilities throughout this solar system, and we've been expanding beyond it for decades. This was too much for HFY. He stood up quickly, his chair falling backward. This is impossible. Our long-range sensors show only basic development in this system. We would have detected major industrial expansion. General Thompson smiled. Not if we didn't want you to. Our stealth technology is very good, Blake stood up too. Ambassador, I think you're starting to understand that first contact between our species is not going to be what you expected. What do you want from us? HFY asked quietly. The same thing you wanted from us, President Ross said from the screen. To establish peaceful relations between our civilizations. The difference is that we're offering it as equals, not as superiors to inferiors. We came here to welcome you into the galactic community, the ambassador said. And we appreciate that, Blake said. But perhaps it's time to discuss which civilization is really welcoming the other. The aliens looked at each other nervously. They had come to Earth expecting to find primitives who would be grateful for protection and guidance. Instead, they found a species that might be more advanced than anyone in the Galactic Council. What else were the humans hiding? The emergency meeting of the Galactic Council was chaos. Council leader Mordak tried to keep order as dozens of alien representatives shouted at each other in different languages. Ambassador HFY's report had terrified them all. This is impossible, declared Senator Vextar of the Crystalline Union. No species could have developed so much technology so quickly. The evidence is clear, Mordak said grimly. Humanity is far more advanced than we believed. The question is, what do we do about it? We must act before they become even stronger, said Admiral Korath of the Hegemony Fleet. If we combine all our forces, we can still outnumber them. Krapar. We? Asked HFY quietly. They've been watching us for 50 years. They know everything about our capabilities. Do we know anything real about theirs? The Council voted to send their combined fleets to Earth. It would be the largest military force ever assembled in galactic history. Surely no single species could stand against such power. Back on Earth, President Ross received the news calmly. She was sitting in her office with her top advisors when General Thompson brought her the intelligence report. The entire Galactic Council is coming here with everything they have, he said. Over 10,000 warships from 15 different species. I see, President Ross said. Do they really think that will be enough? Director Blake smiled. Should we tell them the truth now? I think it's time, the President agreed. Admiral Carter, please begin the final revelation. Admiral Carter activated his communications system. Around the galaxy, a signal went out on frequencies that only humans could hear. This is Earth Command to all units, he said. Operation Daylight is now active. Reveal yourselves. Throughout the galaxy, things that had looked like asteroids, dead moons, and space debris suddenly came to life. Massive battle stations uncloaked and powered up their weapons. What the aliens had thought was empty space was actually full of hidden human installations. On the Council flagship approaching Earth, alarms started ringing everywhere. Sir, shouted the sensor operator, we're detecting massive energy signatures all around us. Mordak looked at his displays in horror. His fleet was surrounded by human warships that had been hiding in plain sight. Each ship was larger and more powerful than anything in his navy. How many? He asked weakly. Thousands, sir. They're everywhere. General Patricia Clark appeared on screens throughout the Council fleet. She was a stern woman who commanded Earth's defense networks. Council Leader Mordak, she said politely. Welcome to human space. I hope you're not planning anything hostile. Where did all these ships come from? Mordak demanded. They've been here all along, Patricia explained. We just made them invisible. Human stealth technology is quite advanced. Back on Earth, the aliens who had come with HFY were watching everything happen on the main display. They could see their mighty fleets completely surrounded by human forces. This was all planned, HFY said in shock. Not planned, corrected Dr. Collins. We were prepared. There's a difference. We hoped this day would never come. President, Ross said sadly. We preferred to remain hidden and let you think you were in charge of the galaxy. Captain Laura Adams walked into the room. She moved with perfect grace and her eyes seemed to see everything at once. When she spoke, her voice was calm and confident. Ambassador, she said, I want to show you something about human development. She picked up a metal bar that was lying on the table. With her bare hands, she bent it into a pretzel shape. Humans have been improving ourselves for generations, she explained. Better nutrition, genetic therapy, cybernetic enhancement. The average human today is stronger, faster, and smarter than any human in our history. She touched a computer screen, and it responded instantly to her thoughts. We can interface directly with our technology. Our reaction times are measured in milliseconds. You've turned yourselves into weapons, Sixthara said with horror. We've turned ourselves into better humans, Laura corrected. We can think faster, work longer, and solve problems that would baffle earlier generations of our species. Chief Scientist Robert Kim activated the final display. It showed a network of glowing lines connecting every human installation across the galaxy. This is our quantum communication network, he explained. Every human ship, station, and colony is connected in real time. We can coordinate across the entire galaxy instantly. What you're seeing, President Ross added, is not just a civilization. It's a single organism spread across thousands of star systems, all working together with perfect coordination. The display changed to show human activities happening simultaneously across the galaxy. Ships moving in perfect formation, construction projects proceeding on schedule, scientific experiments sharing data instantly. We don't just have ships, the president continued. We have a living network that spans the galaxy. On the council flagship, Mordak was trying to understand what was happening. His great fleet was helpless, surrounded by invisible enemies who had been watching his every move. What do you want? He asked Patricia Clark over the communication channel. The same thing you originally offered us, she replied. We want to welcome you into our community. We want to offer you protection and guidance as you adapt to the new galactic order. You're being sarcastic, Mordak said bitterly. Not at all, Patricia said seriously. We genuinely want to help. The galaxy is changing and change can be scary. We understand that. President Ross appeared on screens throughout the council fleet. Leaders of the Galactic Council, she said, we didn't choose this confrontation. We were content to remain hidden while you believed you ruled the galaxy. But now that we've revealed ourselves, we hope we can work together. Humanity has much to offer the galaxy. New technologies, new ways of thinking, new approaches to old problems. And if we refuse? Asked Mordak. Then you refuse, President Ross said with a shrug. We won't force anyone to join us. But we also won't pretend to be less than we are. Director Blake stood up. We're prepared to offer every council species the same protection and guidance that you originally offered us. We can share our technology, help you develop new worlds, and defend you against any threats. All we ask in return is that you acknowledge the reality of the situation. Humanity is now the dominant civilization in this galaxy. The communication channel went quiet for several minutes. Finally, Mordak spoke again. What guarantees do we have that you won't simply conquer us all? The same guarantee you gave us, President Ross replied. Our word as civilized beings. The difference is that we actually have the power to keep our promises. We could have conquered the galaxy at any time in the past 20 years, added General Thompson. If that was our goal, you would never have known we existed until it was over. Instead, we chose to watch and learn. We wanted to understand other civilizations before we revealed ourselves. Amanda Price added, We've been studying your species for decades. We know your strengths, your needs, and your potential. We can help you achieve things you never thought possible. Hours later, the leaders of the Galactic Council met in emergency session aboard their flagship. They were still surrounded by human warships, but no threats had been made. They're offering us partnership, said Senator Vextar. Not conquest, not submission. Partnership. Can we trust them? asked Admiral Korath. Do we have a choice? Replied Zixthara. They have technology we can't match, numbers we can't count, and capabilities we don't understand. But they're also offering to share all of that with us. Mordak made the decision that would reshape the galaxy. Open a channel to the human president. When President Ross appeared on screen, she looked tired, but hopeful. President Ross, Mordak, said formally, the Galactic Council accepts your offer of partnership. We would be honored to join the human commonwealth. Excellent, President Ross replied with a genuine smile. Welcome to the future. As the great fleets began to return to their home systems, now under human protection, Ambassador Zixthara found himself back on New Horizon Station. I have one question, he said to Director Blake. When you first met us, did you already know this would happen? Blake smiled. Ambassador, we've been preparing for this day since we first detected your radio signals 50 years ago. We knew that eventually, someone would come to Earth and force us to reveal ourselves. We just hoped it would go peacefully. And if we had been hostile, then you would have learned why humans are the galaxy's dominant species, Blake said, quietly. But I'm glad we didn't have to show you that side of humanity. Zixthara looked out at the stars, where human ships were already beginning to escort council vessels back to their homes. What happens now? He asked. Now we build something better than either of our civilizations could create alone, Blake said. The galaxy is about to become a much more interesting place. As Zixthara prepared to return to his people, he realized that the humans had done exactly what they promised. They had offered partnership as equals, shared their knowledge freely, and treated former enemies as future friends. Perhaps he thought being part of the human commonwealth wouldn't be so bad after all.